The New York Jets season is over, but there's plenty to look forward to for next year. And we'll be doing it with a very special guest, a New York Jets player. Looking forward to what's to come, his wonderful charitable efforts, and so much more. Let's get it started.
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
You're fucking talking.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome here to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/BoyGreen25. And let's bring in a special guest. He's getting a lot of Chase Blue points. He's got a lot of flight miles on this show. And let's bring him back once again. It's the legend himself, New York Jets punter Thomas Morstead, baby. What is up, Thomas?
Paul, how are we doing?
Yeah, doing excellent, man. So it's great to have you back on the show. And Thomas, you know this question's coming, so let's just get it right out of the way, right off the get-go. It's on the minds of every Jets fan that's watching this show. Is Thomas Morstead returning in 2025 to the Jets?
I mean, I'm under contract, so that's the plan. We'll see. There's a lot of things that need to get handled before they get around to the punting position at the team right now. But yeah, I plan to be back for sure.
Someone else who's under contract, and the number two question on people's minds is your guy Aaron Rodgers, and he played in all 17. He was healthy. We sort of talked about that the previous year about the motivation from Aaron after he got hurt to say, "Hey, man, I really want to come back and play in all 17." That seemed really important to him. Do you have any idea whether or not your teammate Aaron Rodgers will still be your teammate in 2025 playing football?
Nope, no clue at all. Like I said, we don't have a GM and we don't have a head coach, at least as of this moment right now. So
yes.
I'm sure all those decisions get made by people that are above my pay grade. So we'll wait and see.
One guy who could be helping make one of those decisions is AG, Aaron Glenn. By all accounts, he's the favorite to land the job. Actually, before I even get to AG, just in general, us fans and everything have been talking about it for a while as the Jets search for a head coach and a GM. Have you paid attention, as a player on the team, have you paid attention to it at all? Does it interest you at all, or you just see whoever gets hired when they get hired?
I'd say both. Yeah, I'm super interested to see. I've been keeping up with it. I wouldn't say I'm anxious about it at all. I don't have any control of what happens or anything like that. So, but yeah, I'm super interested to see what happens, and I've been keeping my eyes on it just like you have, I'm sure.
You know, players say that. That's the right answer. You know, control what you can control. I don't worry about things that are beyond my pay grade, so to speak. Is it as easy as you and other players say it across the league? Because I hear that answer all the time, but I don't know, in actuality, if we, me and you on top of a mountain, is it as easy to remove some of those things that people can't control?
I guess it depends. I mean, nobody's perfect at it. It depends on, I don't know how to answer that. I guess, there's pieces to your job. When you hear a coach say, just do your job, it's just focus on the things that you are being asked to do. And like I said, there's some gray areas of, where it's not about doing your job, but it's about being a good teammate or helping somebody else in the locker room. That's different than when decisions like this stuff gets made. I would. Yes, ma'am. We have a little visitor here. Go ahead, Maggie.
Hey,
go ahead.
All right, sure.
Is that since it's snowing here, can we have s'mores?
We can a little bit, okay? Thank you.
Ooh,
well,
okay,
for those of you that
s'mores.
don't know, we've got a half a foot of snow in New Orleans for the first time since the 1890s. So the kids are at home today. But yeah, I just focus on the stuff I can control. And I'm in off-season mode right now. I'm at home and just enjoying being at home with the family.
Which, by the way, how's everyone dealing with it? Like we were talking before the show started that I'm from down south, so we never got snow. But whenever we got snow, everyone freaked out because they're not as prepared as they may be up here up north for some of it. So how's everybody handling the snow down there for the first time in a while?
Well, it's easy right now. I mean, we haven't needed to drive anywhere. We've been stocked up for food and drinks in the house, and the kids put on some coats and went out to a little hill and trash can lids and whatever else you can find to slide down. My son was in a laundry basket, so we don't keep any of our real snow gear here because we don't ever get it. So we're a little unprepared, but they're excited. They're loving it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, of course, Thomas, we talked before the season. We were hoping the Jets would be playing down there in New Orleans for the Super Bowl. Obviously, that didn't happen, but it's still going to be right there in your backyard. Are you going to be going to the Super Bowl?
I'm not going to go to the game. I kind of made a deal with myself a long time ago. I wouldn't go to the game unless I was playing in it. So while I'm still playing, I'm just not going to go. But I will partake in some of the activities the week of the Super Bowl. I've got a Team Gleason golf tournament that I'm part of, which I'm excited about. And also, there's some cool events in the evenings, NFL experience for the kids, stuff like that. So we'll definitely do as much of it as we can while we're here.
Well, you mentioned your partnership with Team Gleason. Let's shine a light on that. Punt for ALS, it's right there on the screen as well, puntforals.org. Thomas, you said before the season you made a media tour to raise awareness about what you're going to be doing. You committed to donating $1,000 for every punt you landed inside the 20-yard line. And you ended up finishing with 19 of those. The campaign, which is still accepting donations, again, puntforals.org, has raised nearly $40,000. So first off, I just want to say thank you for everything that you did and everyone that participated through your wonderful giveaways on all social media and raising money and raising awareness for both of those. That's really special. How did it feel to plan to do that this past season, go through it on a week-to-week basis, and all your wonderful NFL compadres on the other side who donated autographed jerseys and so much? It seemed to go off without a hitch. It seemed amazing.
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, we didn't raise what I thought we may do at the beginning of the season, but winning goes hand in hand with generosity sometimes, and but there's so many people that reached out that were part of it, that made their donations, and getting anybody to give $1 of their money, I mean, that's really humbling for anybody to do that. So it's been really cool to have so many players across the league be a part of it, donate, help out. Just really, it's been special to be a part of. So again, thank you to everybody who's been a part of that, and we'll look forward to presenting that money to Team Gleason the week of the Super Bowl.
Thomas, was this a one-and-done thing, or do you plan on doing this for the rest of your career?
I don't know. I hadn't really thought past this season. It was just kind of like, let's do it. Let's see how it goes. So, we'll see. We'll see. I'm still focused on finishing this thing out. I'm going to be doing I finally got, I told people at the beginning of the season I was going to be giving my jersey away throughout the season. Well, I didn't get those until we left the facility. I thought I was going to have an order of 40 or 50 of them to do throughout the season, and I got a batch finally when we left for exit meetings. So I'm going to give some away this weekend and try to get one last little push to those teams that are going to the Super Bowl. See if some of their fans may want to, give a few bucks to have a chance to go see their team play in New Orleans. So, but I'll be giving those away this weekend.
Well, that's amazing. Again, we're speaking with Thomas Morstead, baby, New York Jets punter. Again, puntforals.org for all the information. We started this when we were talking about the head coaching search. The favorite, it seems, at this point, at this current moment in time, let me do a quick check. Still nothing on Aaron Glenn, but Jet fans are on the edge of their seats waiting for it. You just missed out playing with AG. His final year of playing NFL football was 2008, but he did cross over for you with his coaching career that happened there there in New Orleans before he jumped over to the Detroit Lions. Whether or not he becomes the guy, Jet fans are really curious about it, especially if he does become the guy. What can you tell Jet fans about Aaron Glenn, who might not, especially that fans that didn't see him play, because he was a first-round pick back in 1994 and had a wonderful 15-year career. What can you tell us about Aaron Glenn?
I mean, look, I didn't have a lot of face-to-face interaction. He wasn't my position coach in New Orleans, obviously.
Sure.
But I would just say a word that comes to mind is just professionalism. You know, there's just a professionalism that he operates with. But you could feel it emanating from him when you're around him. So that's kind of the only thing I'd have. Like I said, I didn't have a ton of I may have listened to him coach the DBs up once or twice on the sideline, but just the way he carried himself in the building and the way he was regarded, I would just say just very professional.
Is that who you're rooting for to get the job? Do you have any rooting interest on who ends up getting either of the gigs, or looking for a head coach and a general manager?
No, I don't have a rooting interest because I don't know anything. I know very little about who they're considering. So yeah, I obviously hope they get it right. So,
Amen.
But that's about it.
Well, let's get into that, getting it right, because that's what Jet fans are really hoping for. We're in the middle of this 14-year playoff drought, and maybe this is just a thing for fans, Thomas, because you weren't here for the 14 years. Hell, no player on this team has been here for the entire drought. But is that something that motivates you guys? It's something like, oh my gosh, we got to get this drought over with? Or is it a lot of, well, that drought has nothing to do with me, and it's just kind of a fan thing that we talk about ending it?
No, I think there's a balance to that. I mean, I don't carry many of the scars of being a lifelong New York Jet fan. So I don't have those scars and traumas, but I have been a Jet for 40 something plus games. So, I'm aware of it, and obviously you want to win for the fans. I mean, they're the reason I have a job and why the job is so awesome. So, I mean, you're aware of it, but again, I don't carry any of those scars with me. But I'm motivated to win regardless. That's generally how you stick around and how you become part of something special is by winning, and all the other stuff that people talk about doesn't really matter. So it's just about winning.
Let's go back to the head coach search for a second. You said you have no rooting interest, so let's put individuals aside. But just what are you, as a veteran that's been in the league for a long time, what are you hoping, what are you looking for, I guess, in a head coach? A head coach comes in, what are the qualities, what are the characteristics that are important to you as a player?
I would just say authenticity. There's different personalities that have had winning cultures, but I think a big part of that is just being yourself, being authentic to who you are, and being consistent. It's probably like being a parent. That it's probably very similar to that actually. Just setting standards, being consistent and enforcing those standards, and getting everybody to buy into a collective vision.
Hey, let's go back to the Super Bowl. Do you have a Super Bowl prediction? We got the Final Four now. We got Chiefs, Bills on one side, Eagles, Commanders on the other. What's your Super Bowl prediction?
No,
Who's going to be playing in New Orleans?
I got no prediction, but I will say this: I think a lot of people became fans of Jaden Daniels this weekend, watching him rip up and down the field. We'll be watching that. He's an LSU guy, so we kind of keep our eyes on those guys when you live down in New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd love to go play for the biggest game of them all back there in New Orleans. I'm sure he'd really appreciate that. Jaden Daniels, LSU kid, number 2 overall pick for the Washington Commanders here. I will just be straight up with this question I'm about to ask. This is a difficult one because Greg Zuerlein had one of the best years in Jets franchise history in 2023. And all of us are like, okay, let's give the guy the bag. This is great. And he ends up being the highest paid kicker in Jets franchise history. And then obviously this year didn't go the way that he would have wanted, I'm sure. And we got a fan question here. This is from Philly Noodle 631. He was curious how you and the rest of the locker room handled that very difficult situation, right? Like Zuerlein wasn't missing the kicks on purpose, but as we're kind of going through this season, he was going through some trials and tribulations himself.
Yeah, I think any kicker that's been kicking long enough goes through droughts here and there. I know what that feels like. It's not a good feeling. Just showing up to work, keep working on on your craft, trying to pull yourself out of it. Sometimes it's unfortunate, just the timing of misses, or you could do exactly what you wanted to do, but the wind didn't do what you thought it was going to do. So you struck the ball well, but the result wasn't good. So there's all varying degrees of that happened this past season, and it was just kind of a statistical anomaly. And it was difficult on Greg, right? He loves playing the game, and he loves being counted on, and he's been a great player for a long time. And I think nobody was like, get this guy out of here that was on the team. They were all pulling for him, and they all believe in him. I mean, he's still a top 5 leg in this league and can absolutely smash football. So it just was a really crummy thing that he had to go through, and it was just tough. It's the only way I can put it.
I don't know if you would have any advice to share with him, but what is it when you go a mental thing? I don't even know what else to call. Maybe it's a physical hiccup. I don't know, if something that just happens, you're trying to force your way out of it. What's your advice to him? Of course, he's still on the team, and obviously he's still under contract for next season too. Jet fans would love nothing more than a massive rebound for, like I said, a guy. It just shows you how slim that line is. One year you're being cheered, the other year you're getting booed, I guess. But what is the advice for Zerline to get to this offseason and reset in some way so he could get back to what Legatron, Greg the Leg, was doing in 2023 to do it once again in 2025?
I don't really have much advice. I mean, Greg's been through it all. He's had a slump here or there, and he's always found a way to get through it. He's been there and done that. So I don't worry about him at all.
Let's go to this one. This is another fan question here from Schnitzel. And I haven't had a lot of people ask these kind of questions, so I'll be curious to throw it at you. How hard is it to hold for field goals, Thomas Morstead?
I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I just practice it, and it's very detailed. There's a lot of particulars that guys want to have depending on what your kicker is, but it's just something that my biggest thing is staying present and not getting too far ahead of myself in the process. Just staying on my process, I'd say a big thing for me is just having a timer that goes off in your head when there's sometimes you catch the ball and it's just perfect and easy and you don't have to do anything, but sometimes it's not, and you have to there's a clock that goes off, and at some point you have to stop because the ball's going to get kicked and you got to get your hand out of the way. So all those things are important for doing it. I do enjoy doing it. It keeps you locked into the game, especially when you're not punting a lot in a game. So and it's fun to go out and score points.
What is that? Because I see it all the time, right? So you're looking at the long snapper, then you're looking at Greg, then you're looking back at the long snapper, time it out. What's going through? What is that mechanical process, I guess, of you looking back and forth until you get, I guess, a wink or something from Greg the Leg? You're like, all right, he's ready to go. Okay, let's roll. What's going on there?
Yeah, I don't want to snap the ball before he's ready. So, I communicate to the line, and then I check back with him, and as soon as he gives me the go ahead, turn and get the ball snapped. So it's not complicated, but there are lots of little details inside of what we do that are important for the kicker, depending on what the wind's doing and how far back you are and different things like that.
How if a snap is poor and or whatever happens, something goes wrong, and you're like, oh my gosh, Greg is not going to be able to kick this. What is step number one? And once you realize that the timing is all off, Greg won't be able to kick this ball, what do you do? What is the first step for you?
Yeah, I mean, if he's not going to be able to kick it, then I'll have to pull it and run it. And, we haven't had that happen. So we haven't had to find out yet. Is
there any fake Morstead showing a little? Because everyone knows you're running. We've seen it on Hard Knocks.
It's not a fake. When you screw up, that's just a screw up. So you never know what's been dialed up by the special team coach. So you never know.
Okay. We'll keep that on the DL then. I like that. Here's another one. This one was from Traveling Man, who sent in a couple of things here. Here's the first one. Do you know any of your own trivia? Like, do you know right now what your longest punt has been in your career, or any of those maybe odd statistics of your career?
Not really. No.
Okay. And do you have any desire to, or no?
Not particularly. No. I just, like my long punt this year, I think was a career high against the Texans. Yeah. The first 2 punts of the game were better than that one. That one just happened to land in bounds and track down the sideline for 20 extra yards. So, I don't get caught up in a lot of that stuff. I just try to win the play each play, and that's served me pretty well so far.
Have you ever kicked a field goal in an NFL game before due to injury or something happening, and then you're called?
Not yet, but I'm ready. I'd love to score a point before my career is over, so we'll see.
What's your range? What can you do?
Not as far as you'd like it to be. So, on a summer day, when it's 100 degrees, I can get it 60. But when it's 20 mile an hour wind in your face in MetLife in December, it's probably like 40. So. Every game's different.
A follow-up question here from Traveling Man. So this was what, season number 16 for you, Morstead, that you just wrapped up?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. His question was about whether or not it's gotten more difficult for you to stay in football shape as you've gotten older in your career. And basically, how has your diet and workout plan changed over the years to adapt to whatever your body there, your temple, how you're able to keep it as finely tuned as possible for the season. So diet workout plan changes. And again, how much more difficult has it been to stay in shape?
I wouldn't say it's difficult to stay in shape. I would say it's harder to get back in shape. So I don't really take much time off. It's a lot easier to just kind of keep the train rolling than it is to like start it back up again. But I definitely think it's harder every year. That's kind of what's making it fun. You kind of have to keep pulling up rocks and finding new little edges and things to make you better. The diet, nutrition, and training and all that stuff, that's like a life thing. Like most of what I do now, I'll do when I'm done playing. It's just part of my life and who I am. So, I'm always trying to find little edges to get better and to, it's almost a form of weakness. I don't like not feeling good. So I'm willing to do almost anything to make sure I'm in a good spot and feeling good.
Yeah, Thomas, because that's what I was going to ask you. I know a lot of people do diets to do very well during their football career, but I imagine, like, as soon as it's over, I don't know if everyone runs to the cheeseburger line and goes, oh, finally, oh, thank God. I don't have to eat all the other stuff to keep me in this peak physical football.
No, I imagine I'll lose a few pounds when I'm done. I won't be it's tough keeping my body weight up to what it is, so.
Really? Oh, because I've kind of seen that. I think it was the picture of Russell Okung when he played in the league. He's this big, massive offensive lineman, and since he's been gone, he's lost hundreds of pounds. I mean, he looks like a completely different person. So I've heard that a time or two about your weight going down after from being struggling to keep it up for, I guess, the length of the season and things of that nature. I would imagine.
Yep, I assume mine would. So yeah, okay. Mine will definitely go down when I'm done.
Again, we're speaking here with Thomas Morstead just for a few more minutes here on the show. Thomas, what has your Jets tenure meant here? Again, you've had a couple of different stints here with the New York Jets. Jet fans love the hell out of you, and I hope you feel that when you're playing on Sundays and social media. You're a god amongst us Jet fans, that's for sure. So I'm curious, what's been your relationship with Jet fans and just being on the Jets? What has that meant to you?
I've loved it. It's been a second chance at some stability, and I've had some great experiences with my family. Definitely felt the love from the fans. I've enjoyed it. The only thing that would make it better is if we get some more wins. But yeah, it's been a great experience for me personally, and I've really enjoyed. We wouldn't be up there doing this if my wife and I didn't have a good experience up there. So it's been great.
There's no again. You guys are balancing. We started off the beginning of the interview. You're down there in New Orleans, on top of what you're doing during the season. Obviously, in New Jersey with the Jets. Are we still guns a-blazing? Not even thinking about the R word? I dare not mention on this show. Your cool plan for a cajillion years.
I don't know about a cajillion, but I want to play next year. So
Okay.
We just take it a year at a time, and I don't want to ever be a hanger-oner type of player. So, if I feel like I can play at a high level and I still enjoy it and enjoy the grind of it, and being counted on Sundays, there's nothing better. So, I still love doing it.
All right, let's wrap up here, Thomas. Again, Jet fans are starving for wins. They're starving for the playoffs. They're starving for championships. They're starving for it all. What's the key to getting more wins? Over these last 14 seasons, the Jets have only had one winning season. That was back in 2015. Every other season's been 500 or worse. What's the key to winning? The Jets had this super talented team last year that people say is one of the most talented teams the Jets have ever put together, and yet, unfortunately, the results were the same that they've been before. What's the key to winning?
Listen, if anybody has that concrete answer, I mean, they can make a lot of money.
I imagine so.
If you could just pinpoint one thing. So, that's why it's, if you win, you typically stick together because you can't always, you just know if it's working with this group of people, you try to keep that group together, right? So, if I could pinpoint it myself, I would. But, it takes everybody pulling in the same direction. I know that.
All right. And a final message to Jet fans, Mr. Morstead, as we're heading into this very pivotal offseason. Jets are hiring a head coach. They're hiring a general manager, and it feels like a new era on One Jets Drive.
Yeah. Just thanks for all the support. And, it's hang in there. Hang in there.
I love it. Well, Thomas, you have a beautiful family. We love having you a part of this Jets community, and thank you as always for taking the time to speak with the fans. They really appreciate it, and I could speak for it myself.
You got it, Paul. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, Thomas,
right.
for joining us here on the show. Appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.